Hello there. Closed. Hello. Hey, 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 hey. Hopefully everybody is all right over here. So we do have a bunch of tasks that we want to go over. Actually, let me move this over here. Yeah, I do have 100,000 tabs. Excellent connection. Okay, so let me get rid of the intro and we're good. And start recording. Okay, should we start recording? Okay, not now. All right, so what we're trying to do, the task that we're trying to do now is that, like, if I play my game over here, so I do have this little window here, so if I play. This game is actually being made for WebGL. But before WebGL, I actually test things on the Mac, on the Windows, because it's just faster. So if you're using Unity multiplayer play mode, so I do have these guys, this other guy over here, which, yeah, it doesn't matter which one I connect to. You can see that, like, once I connect, I'm auto generating the session and the player name, so I don't have to type it every time because it's just boring. And yeah, and you can see, okay, I got a session over here, got one player, which is the asterisk here. That's, yeah, I need to, actually, I'm gonna, not this, so this is what I want. Okay, so I don't know if I already have that, but I actually do. Um, add back to my menu during game. Yeah, that's fine. So I can, what I can do here is if I hit like escape, but I can't hit escape because if I hit escape, I'm already opening this guy. E. Maybe I can hit E. E is a good one. Yeah. E is a good one. But the thing is that what I'm trying to do now is actually, so if I connect with my other player over here, yes, connected, cool, great. But then, if I also need to correct the physics though, but yeah, actually let me do that. Yeah, so let me add this to my bug. So player cannot be spawned and players patch each other. They slide and sometimes they also start flying. One thing that I could do here is this could actually be a feature, not a bug. When a player touches another player, it pushes them around, but flying needs to go. I don't know if anybody's in there actually. If it is, can you tell me if the audio is okay? It'd be great to know. Yeah, hopefully it's okay. I mean, on my Streamlabs here, it looks fine. But well, you tell me. Yeah, if you look at my audio configurations, microphone correct. Okay, and desktop is playing my little music, I guess, right? So connect to chat. Why do I keep connecting to stuff? I don't. Is it? Oh, I'm connected to VPN. Could it be because I'm connecting to VPN? Every time I go into like another stream, I keep connecting to the chat room all the time. I don't know if it's because of my VPN or what it is, but just my chair. Yeah, this is better. Okay. All right. So coming back. Oh, crap. I hate when this guy does this. Okay, so let's do this again. When a player touches each other, it moves without. So let me add that because then I'm gonna lose it again, and then I can just add this. This could be a feature, not a bug. But sometimes the player also starts. That needs to go. Okay. Yeah. So that's all well and good. I'm gonna kill this VPN. Still here. Oh. No, I'm still online. Good. No. Why? Did Twitch lost my... Am I live on Twitch? I should not have killed the VPN. I'm still here. Yes, count my view. Yes, sure. Yeah, what about average view duration? What about YouTube? Am I live on YouTube? Let's see, let's check the channel. Oh, I'm still live here. Yeah, I'm live. Alright, cool. Here, I have to turn VPN off. Alright. So... Alright. Hello. Yeah, alright. So this guy is fine. And Twitch is also fine. Cool. So now kind of going back to what I was doing here. So I have this game. Which actually left the session. Great. Yeah, so that's what I want to do. So what I what I what I want to do is that I want to actually make the player leave the session, okay? Because what I'm doing here is I'm using distributed authority, and I can log in here. I'm gonna create a session over here. Cool. Yeah, hopefully someday soon. Yes, session created. Great. And then here. Cool. Yeah. Ask me about distributed authority, guys. I'm here to help you guys with that. All right. Now I'm gonna kill this guy. So yeah. So what we're trying to do here, is that we're trying to make when a player dies, I want to send him back to the main screen. Later we can do something else like respawn or something. But for now, I just want to be able to kill the player. But I want the player to be able to log in back again, so he can join the same session if he wants to. So here I killed that guy, so he went back. So that's great. But something, player is not authorized. All right. But the thing is that the player is still here, right? Player is not authorized. What is the player not authorized? Huh? Ah, okay. So this is the player's not authorized. There's something here. Okay. So what is the player not authorized to do? So here's service helper. Last time I called service helper is 413. 413 here. Leave async. Why is the player not authorized? Oh, is it because I actually signed him out after that? But the thing is that like now the problem is if I log this guy back in, the issue that we have is that now we have 3 players, right? Now we have 3 players, so now again, if I go, yeah, now I have an issue that I have a bug with this stuff. Not good also. The key projectile is not present in the dictionary. How? Okay, so so let's check that. So whenever I kill someone and someone spawns back in, I can't shoot anymore? Is that what's happening? Oh, fail. So this is also another bug that I found on Distributed Authority. Sometimes when I start a session right after the other and it has the same session name, it doesn't connect for some reason. I think these sessions are like long living in the back end. But the thing is, it kind of sucks because it's this is sucky because if you look, yeah, so distributed authority here, yeah. So let me sign out of this, and I'm gonna sign in back again. There. Okay, so let me see. Now I waited a little bit, so it's still happening, right? But the thing is that now if I try joining, so let's use a different session name. Let's use a different session name. So instead of the full, let's do the full 2. See, now it's going to work. So that is 100% a bug. So if I leave a session and try to create another one very quickly, it may be that the session is still there. All right, so that I need to write that somewhere. So notes. Okay, so yes. Distributed authority learnings. So learning number 1. If I queue a session and try to create another session with same name, very quickly, the service does not connect. If I change the name of the session and try to create a new session, it connects fine. So that means the sessions are actually long living in the backend without us knowing. The thing is that the problem with distributed authority right now is that there's very little documentation, and even if you go in here, so this is a tank game. If you go, I don't want to see this. I don't need to see this. If you go in here, like there is nothing. You can't really see anything. Hopefully, in the future, if you have a session created, you will be able to. Yeah, so I don't need that. So hopefully, in the future, if you have a session created, you will be able to see that here, right? And the thing is that today I actually learned something interesting, which is this, right? So distributed authority uses this concept of sessions instead of join code, the session name. So multiplayer service SDK uses sessions to manage groups of players. Sessions relies internally on different combinations of Unity gaming services. So such as relay, distributed authority, lobby, and matchmaker. So and you can actually see this here. So you can actually see this here because like I'm not doing anything else with multiplayer on this account right now, right? I'm not doing anything else with multiplayer on this account. But you can see that, for example, if you come in here to lobby, you can see that I have some movement over here. So there is some stuff going on. So for the requests, I can see that I have like 1 request, 2 requests, 3 at any, and this is now basically, right? So if you look at that, so that means that distributed authority is actually using lobby and other parts of the Unity gaming services in the backend without letting us know. The problem is that now, since it's not released yet, we can't see anything. It sucks. I even asked that on here. Yeah, I asked, hey, is there any way to see the current usage? And somebody asked, yeah, no, I don't believe there is at the moment. Yeah. And yeah, so there's not much for us to do there. Hmm. Yeah, I don't need this card right now. Let's just close this.
Like there is no going around.
Yeah, but anyway, so I think the first test that I want to do here is I want when a player dies, I want to log him off the game and I want to get him out of the session. I am not sure how to do that. We need to figure that out together, right? So, see, it's still bitching about the full name. I'm gonna test my theory right now, and I'm just gonna create. You know what? No. Yeah. Yeah. So if I can I connect to the foot two already or not yet? No. See, also taken. Yeah. I wonder how long that's gonna live in there, and also I wonder if that's actually counting for my billing. Hopefully, but right. There you go. Theory tested. So that is 100% an issue. Maybe not a bug, but it's an issue for sure. So still, what we were trying to do here is that if I this is session 3. Yeah, I still need a way to create. All right, so I'm here. The problem again is that I still have two guys here. So the first task that we have is that if I despawn a player, I want to get him out of the session. All right, so here, this is my code. Yeah. So the player death starts over here. Starts on the stat manager. And okay, so here the player takes damage. It calls the damage RPC to everyone. Here I check if the player ID it's equal, so it is the player itself that took damage. So I invoke this for some reason. I update my health bar. Cool. Then I check if it's. Then I check with my stat system if it's on the zero. If it's on the zero, player is dead. On death. Where am I subscribing to this? On death. That's I'm not really using that for now, but that's fine. Okay. Then here, all right. Then I spawn the player death, which is that big explosion that you guys saw, and cool. And then I call the death RPC. Uh, and all right, so then I call this. I'm spawning this guy with the network. Cool. And then I call the death RPC, which I kind of make the same check. Okay, is the play is it the player? So then here I'm despawning the player. If he has authority, great, it does have. And then I call this guy over here. Then from here, I'm actually calling the game event handler. Game event handler coming here, and then I call player despawn. So player despawn, I come in here. This is where I'm gonna do some stuff. So who's calling the player this to subscribe? So the service helper is actually subscribing to the player despawn. All right. So player despawn, then player despawn. Then I leave the session. So all right. So the leave session part. This is kind of what I'm doing here. Okay, but I'm still not. The signing out is not really working because it's not doing anything. I mean, maybe I'm signing out, but I'm still part of the session. Let me ask. Actually, ask my AI here. The player is leaving the exit. When I'm calling, when is it that I'm calling service helper? Right, so here, finally exit. Then on exit, I go in here and I load the scene. Sure. Exit session. Load scene. Sure. So the player is leaving the scene, but it is not being logged out and taken out of the session. This is leaving us with a ghost player taking a spot. Let's see what the AI is gonna do for us. So leave session. So what are you gonna do? Oh, network player. First shut down the network. Okay. First shut down the network connection, then leave the session, and finally, okay, so let's do this. And oh, I forgot to. All right, let's try that. Sure. Cool. I was wondering about this network. I was actually looking at this stuff. If I can find here, I was actually looking at this. Yeah. So network. No. Yeah, I was looking at this over here. Components manager. Yeah, shut down a network session. Okay, server host notifies all clients when it's shut down. To do this, you can invoke network on the server host. Sends out a disconnect notification to all currently connected. Populates network manage disconnect. Reasons we not responded to the following. Yeah, but this is for server host. What if I want just the client? Disconnecting clients. Server only. Disconnect client. I don't know. Screw it. Let's see what this does for us. Right. So let's see if Unity likes this. We still have a default session hanging up there. That's crazy. That's why I need a lobby. I always felt like if you're gonna have a lobby, you also need a relay, but I'm not sure if that's true though. So I'm creating a session with default 5. Boom. There you go. Now I left this guy, but the thing is now is on destroy exit. So now if I try joining again. Cool. This is actually working. This is actually we actually did something. I love it. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna see how my wife is doing. Can I add a text live here? Add a text using an adjust style. Actually, I'm gonna do you guys one better. So I'm gonna do this. Alright, Twitch stream overlay or YouTube stream overlay. Back. Okay, this is okay. Let's see upload. Recently used. Wow. Okay. I've used a lot of stuff. There we go. This. Yeah, position, range. There we go. Here, here. See. Wow. Concrete. Wow. Elements. There you go. So now add media. No, I don't need any image and source. There we go. Mm-hmm. All right. So yes, I am back. Oh, I didn't know I had this. So let me try this stuff. Addition permissions. Click here to grant permissions. I need to grant permissions. Let's authorize. It's granted. It is granted. Count set up. Date of birth. Okay, I expect a gift. All right, just so you guys know. Completed. Ooh, this is. Ask me about distributed authority. Okay, so I sent that to YouTube, and I did send. Did it go to Twitch? It didn't go to Twitch. Why it did not go to Twitch? I did send to. Twitch is still asking me to grant. I already did grant permissions. Grant. Yes. Oh, it's complaining. It's okay. I can still. Whatever. I can still. Yeah, I can still make the. Send the messages directly, which is fine. It's no big deal. Huh? Ask me.
Oh my god, the navigation in this engine is woeful. This.
Already. Did that go?
Did I accidentally? Yeah, I did. Oh well.
I don't know why my chat is not connecting. Well, anywho. Alright, so this worked. Alright, so now what I'm doing here is first I'm shutting down the network. But the problem with this stuff is that this here is always new when you're doing WebGL.
What am I doing, actually?
So if I build this game for WebGL, and I'm gonna have to apologize because it's gonna take a while, right? So if I come in here, build profiles.
Sorry, I'm zoning out a little bit here.
Oh,
Sorry,
I
guys.
don't have one. Oh, I didn't install WebGL. Oh, crap.
Game looks like a 2D Last of Us, which is great. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to install it. I thought I installed it.
That takes
Crap.
too much time to learn. Said the same thing about programming, man.
All right, let's
Really good.
Let's install it. In the meantime, let's see what's going on out there.
I like both though. I really enjoyed.
I'm actually watching this guy called Hugh for Games. Yeah, thank God for high-speed internet. So yeah, see what's going on over here. It's crazy what this stuff that happens in the US. Seriously, I don't get. That's just crazy. I love working with let's say Stardew Valley songs. I just love it. And this guy that I'm playing right now is Kilika Beats. It's great. Kilika. Kilika Beats. Which amazingly enough has not been streaming lately, but it's Spotify stuff. It's really cool, so I totally recommend it. But yeah, so now okay, node editor will need to be restarted. Okay, so let's do that. Let's restart this guy. Is there anything going on YouTube? All right, I actually want to do something. I want to react to a video that I saw today, and I want to comment on something which
never made a game.
I want to comment on something.
We're here in
because I think it's good. So yeah. So this is the video I'm talking about. Like, do you have anything incriminating here? No, you have all my tabs, which is okay. Abandoned. Yeah, this is stuff that I'm watching. Close this. All right. So I wanted to react to this video because, to be honest, I love this YouTuber. I do love this YouTuber, and he puts out a lot of stuff. I don't know much about his track record. I do know that he has a game on Steam, and he has a newsletter and whatnot, and he does put out a lot of stuff helping people create games. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't think I didn't wishlist or got his game because, to be honest, it's not my type of game. But usually I tend to support the developers, and his game seems to have like positive reviews, and he seems to know what he's talking about. But I mean, sometimes people do say stuff that I think is a little bit out there. So I kind of wanted to react to this video over here, and hopefully, and we'll see how it goes. Let's see.
2025, and if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you want to make games. Maybe you've never made a game before, maybe you've made games before and now you want to get back into it, maybe you're currently making a game. It really doesn't.
So this is, by the way, this is Moonmantis Games. He's, like I said, his YouTube. He's been putting out a lot of good stuff. I recommend his videos, although sometimes he does say stuff that I don't agree, which is absolutely fine, right? That's the world we live in. But I do wanted to comment this game because I was watching as I was running on the treadmill today, and I actually saw something that I wanted to comment on.
Matter. I'm going to tell you how you can get started making games and how you can make progress and build momentum making games so that you can ship that game this year, even maybe in the beginning of this year. We're going to do this in 5 steps that you can follow along and you can actually execute on to make your first game or to get started with making games again. If you're new here, my name's Kyle. I make videos on GameDev topics 2 times per week on the YouTube channel here. Give me a like, give me a subscribe right down there. Now let's get started and talk about how we can get you making games in 2025. Most likely, if you're coming here and you want to make games, you have a couple ideas already. Even if you don't, that's totally cool. Let's start out and just write a couple of those ideas down. Get them down on paper, write whatever you think about them for now. And for each of those ideas, I want you to go through and write a single one-liner on there. So one-line statement, maybe one.
That's a really good advice, to be honest. I write everything down. I write everything that comes to my mind. I have a bunch of notebooks. I'm buying notebooks all the time. I have these guys. For example, I have a bunch of notebooks here. I have my Kindle over here also. I'm always taking notes, and not only on paper, because I think that's a really good way to take notes. Because when you write, it kind of forces you to think about it. When you're typing, it's a little bit less, but you can see that I'm always writing stuff. Like I love to do lists. I think to do lists is it's a must have if you want to be productive. You want to get somewhere. It doesn't matter how much stuff you want to get. You need to do, as long as you write it down and you start knocking it down one by one. It's perfect. But this idea of writing things down, and I actually already took care of this task. This idea of writing the ideas down, trying to make it shorter into like a 1 and 2 sentence is perfect. I actually have something similar to that over here. If you go in here, is it I write so much stuff down that I kind of lose it sometimes. But like if you, yeah, game ideas. Yeah, I have a Kanban board here, for example. So I do have two games that are going on right now. I actually archived a bunch of my other games here. I archived a bunch of my other notes, so I filtered those down. But this is, you can see that each one of these games goes into a link that basically I break things down a bit more. But anyway, coming back to what he was talking about, it's a really good advice to just write your stuff down and trying to make it as short as possible, so you can look at it and you can reason on top of it. Yeah, for sure.
One sentence that says, that's what this game is. It's important when you're writing these one liners that you don't try to blow it up into the greatest marketing statement of the
Actually, while we're doing that, I'm actually going to. This is web. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch platforms over here because I want to test the. Yeah, let's load that. And okay.
year or something you'd see plasters all over an ad somewhere. Just don't do that. Just talk about what your game idea is. Say what your game is. Introduce it just as if you were talking to a friend or you're talking to someone on the sidewalk. Maybe you saw someone you haven't seen in a long time in a coffee shop somewhere, and you're going to tell them, hey, this is my game, and this is what kind of game it is. It's what you do in the game. Even at this point, to make it a little more fun, just pick a name for that. It doesn't have to be something you've gone and researched to the extent that you could actually ship it out there. Don't worry about that. Just give it some kind of name. You can always rename it later. This is just to help you connect with the idea and help you communicate the idea to other people. All in all, you really shouldn't spend a whole lot of time here documenting these ideas and writing these one-liners. Just pick a couple, go through 5 or 6 of them. And don't really spend much time on them, maybe 30 minutes max, just to get those ideas on there, because we're going to work with those in the later steps and eventually turn those into a game. If you really wanted to, you could even just pause the video right now and write 5 or 6 of these and then come back. That's totally cool, and it might be a fun thing to do. All right, step 2 of these 5 ways to get you started making games. Let's take those ideas that you did in that previous step, take those one-liners. I want you to pick 1 or 2 of them, the 1 or 2 that you kind of connect with the most, or the 1 or 2 that you think, hey, this is something I really want to turn into.
Yeah, that's a good thing about writing things down, because then it's really easy to visualize. I'm a very visual person, that's why I use Excalibur all the time. But it's really easy to visualize, and it's really easy to reason with yourself and just filter your ideas down. So that's kind of what I have over here, right? So I have a little Kanban board, which is like just raw ideas and needs design. This is actually here already, and then ready to go, and then in progress, and then yeah. So then it's really easy. You don't need much here. It's just like yeah, just a short short thing about it. Let me just do this, because I actually need that browser over here.
The game. Really, I think you should pick 1 of those ideas, but if you really want to keep 2 of them in there and have a little option value for this step, that's cool too. Now that you've got that idea, or maybe those 2 ideas and those one-liners down, turn those into a short game design document. Hold up now, it's cool. You're not going to write a tome. It's not going to take you forever to do this.
And by the way, when he means a game design document, a lot of people were afraid of that, because they think about like this that book type document, that 20-page, 100-page game document. No. A game design document, especially for the indie developer, the sole purpose is to give the game direction, the developer or the small team a direction, a vision of what the game should be. And that can be achieved in with like 1 or 2 pages, right? For example, if you click here, this is a game design document. See, I even wrote a lot about it. At the end, I have a lot of stuff about mechanics and how the progression might work, what the sound may look like. Here I have a little bit of reference for research. Here I have a little bit of a review of what the things I kind of wanted in the game, just ideas, design pillars, which I think is really important. I think this part here at the top of the game is like the most important thing. But yeah, game design documents are supposed to just give the developer and the small team a direction. That's what you need at this point.
Just spend an hour max on each of those. So if you have one of those ideas that you narrow it down with, it's only going to take you an hour max to write this game design document. You're inevitably going to run into a situation where you don't have the details, you don't know what to do, and that's totally fine at this stage. Again, it really doesn't matter right now if you don't know every single detail.
It's funny that I was just looking at his books at the back, and I recently read "The Can't Hurt Me" from David Goggins, and it's just an amazing book. I was actually listening to the book. I read it and I listened to it. So um, I was listening to the book while I was actually doing some running outside, and I was like actually ran a half marathon while I was listening to it. And it's like for me, it was the biggest motivator because you're running and your legs at one point they start to get a bit heavy, and if you ever run long distance, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But then you're listening to the guy talk about how he finished the Navy SEAL training with a broken foot or something, and it's just insane. And you just talk to yourself and you say, just suck it up and just keep going.
Get you started with this whole process, I do have a game design document template that I've worked on over the past couple years, and I think it's in a pretty good place for getting you started on a path to making a game in a relatively short amount of time. I'll link that video right down in the description down there, as well as a link to the template directly, so feel free to go ahead and use that if you want to. Feel free to go ahead and watch that other video to understand the template and hear me talk about it a little bit more before you get started on this next step. All right, so here we go. You've got your game design document, you've got your little one-liner. Include that one-liner in your game design document too, by the way, if you didn't already. Now let's move on to the next step, and this gets into how are we actually going to take that idea and turn it into a game? How are we going to move from game design document into something that resembles a game? I'm going to assume that you want to turn that game into something that people can play in a web browser or on their desktop or maybe even on their phone. And that's where game engines come in. So we get to pick a game engine now. The engine that you pick really depends on what kind of game you want to make. And I'll make it pretty easy for you here. I have another video, it's an older video where I talk about engines. Don't worry about the engine too much right now. This is just to get you started, to get you making games, to get you moving forward. If for some reason you decide you want to switch pretty early in the process, then it's okay to switch to the other one. It's not a big deal. So most likely, if you're making a 3D game and you want that game to be on either mobile or desktop, Unreal Engine is going to be the choice that you want to go with for now. Unreal can be a little daunting at times, but you don't have to go with every single feature that Unreal has out of the gate just to make a game. And even if you're someone that's very comfortable writing code or you know C++, I really wouldn't recommend that you try that with Unreal to begin with. I recommend you go with blueprints because they're very friendly, they're very easy to use, and they abstract away a lot of the issues with Unreal that you have to deal with in C++ code so that you don't have to worry about that and you can focus on just making your game. Now, I mentioned 3D. What about 2D games? I think if you're making a 2D game, Unity is a great fit. You could possibly consider Godot.
See, this is where I strongly disagree. I think this is horrible advice. I'm sorry, man, but like you narrowing down 3D games to only Unreal Engine, that's just straight up bad advice. You can't say that. Not, I mean, yes, I do. I have worked with all three engines professionally and solo as a solo developer as a hobby. I worked on a team where we did customizations of Unreal Engine. I worked on AAA teams with Unity, and I worked on several projects with Godot. And I can see how Godot is a little bit behind. People talk a lot about their physics and whatnot. Although recently, in the recent month, I actually moved away from Godot, so I don't really know what's going on over there. But I do agree that it is a bit behind. But when it comes to Unity, especially for the solo developer, that's just not true. Unity is not just because I'm using Unity right now, guys. Like I said, I worked a lot with Unreal Engine. I think Unreal Engine is a great choice. I just think it's terrible advice for anyone to just tell, hey, you should only use Unity for 2D games. That's just terrible advice. That you should not give people that advice, because Unity has a lot of good advantages, the same as Unreal. But personally, I would even go far as giving the advice that Unity is actually a better engine for the solo developer. That's solely because of my own personal experience. I think for the solo developer, especially, Unity has a much smoother and, for lack of a better word, easier development pipeline than Unreal. But sure, if you're good, if you already know your way around Unreal, go for it. There's nothing wrong with it, except for the fact that it's way heavier, right? But anyway, going back to the point, saying that for 3D you should only consider Unreal Engine, it is terrible advice, and and for 2D you should consider Unity. It's horrible advice.
But I really think Unity is going to be better because it has a lot of the common things streamlined for you already, like running builds and all this kind of stuff. I also have more experience with it, so I'm a little biased. Now, if you're making that game for web and you want to get that in the browser where people can play it, Unity is definitely going to be one you want to look at over Unreal, because Unreal doesn't support web builds anymore. Now that you've picked an engine, stick with this engine for this game.
That is true. Unreal has dropped the web support. Is I think it was on version 4.26. I heard rumors or talks that they're kind of thinking about getting it back, but to be honest, on the web GL realm, Unreal at this point is just behind. Yeah, it's just behind.
Game that we're going to make. You may be tempted to change, but don't do that yet. Let this one ride its course and get it out there. And then you can think about maybe.
I'm actually anxious to see what he's going to say on this video, which is just about engines, because I haven't watched this one yet. I've watched a lot of his videos. He does put out a lot of good stuff, but I haven't seen this one, so let's see.
Switching to a different engine in the future. Hopefully those rough guidelines have been helpful for you to pick your engine. There are other game engines too, but these are the two most popular ones. I think they're going to set you off on a good path. There's a lot of documentation. There's a lot of background information that you can lean on should you need that when you're building your game. So just make this kind of a quick decision, pick that engine, move forward. Let's go on to that next step. Okay, so you got the idea, you got the design document, you got the engine. Now it's time to spend the next 2 to 7 years of your life building this idea. No, don't do that. That was a joke, by the way. Please don't do that. So this is where I'm going to throw a little wrench in.
Yeah, I'm glad he said that. I mean, I do know developers that spent 7 years and they came out with really amazing games, but I wouldn't recommend anybody doing that, seriously.
To that plan a little bit. We're going to make this in 1 week. And what I want you to do is go back and look at your design.
Yeah, if you're still learning, sure. Like, yeah, if you're the title of the video is getting started making games, so sure. A 1 week game is basically a game jam game, right? Yeah, it's definitely, its sole purpose is for you to learn the process and learn how to prototype, how to develop new features, how to get your mindset outside of that tutorial hell. But other than that, yeah, nobody should think that you're gonna develop a full-on game and publish on Steam in a week. On Steam is actually impossible because of the Steam deadlines, but even on itch, which it would be possible to publish something in a week, but it's just not recommended. Not for professional reasons. For learning purposes, 100%.
Document, look at what you know about the engine that you picked, and trim that down to something you can ship in 1 week. You're very likely going to have to trim that idea down, make it smaller, and that's a really good thing to go through, in my opinion, because it helps you get to what is the core of this game, what really moves it forward. So go ahead and do that. Look at your design document, trim it down to something that you think you can build in 1 week. What you can build in 1 week is different than what I can build in 1 week, is different than what someone else can build in 1 week. So don't worry about comparing yourself to other people and making something awesome in that time. It doesn't matter. It's about you making it in 1 week and doing what you can. You may be tempted to say, hey, my idea is too complex to do that. And That's where I'm going to tell you it's probably not. You really can do this. You can take that idea and trim it down to something that you can do in 1 week. Trust me. There's all kinds of ideas that are incredibly complex, and I've seen a ton of people go through this process with games, with apps, where they take an idea and they ship something really small in 1 week that just captures the essence of what that idea is. I've done it myself multiple times for both games and apps.
That's really good advice when you're coming from the prototyping point of view, for sure.
So I know you can do this. For what it's worth, it's not easy to take something and trim it down to something really small that you can ship in 1 week. That is kind of difficult, so do spend a little bit of time on this. You can use paper if you want, but you may have a little trouble with the next step if you do. It's really not a big deal. You can get through it, I'm positive. Try to do it in Engine though. All right, here we are at that 5th part. This one is the fun part. This is where you go and grab a friend. Grab someone you know. Maybe it's someone you haven't seen in a while and you want to harass them into playing your game or something. Let that person play your game. Maybe try getting a couple people to play your game. And what you're looking for here is feedback. Feedback on what worked for your game, feedback on what people enjoyed, what people didn't enjoy.
A good thing to do here is, if you can, is ask people to record it or watch them play live. That would be great. If you have a friend and you send them a build or something, or you send them a WebGL build or whatever, you can just drop on Discord and just, hey, and just ask your friend, say, hey, can you stream while I watch you play? You don't need to. He doesn't need to stream to like Twitch or anything. You can just drop in on Discord and do that. That's great, because then you actually watch their reactions live, and that's really good for things, for like blind testing. So the things that you just give them a game, no explanations, and let them figure it out. So this is really good for you to kind of know what works, what doesn't work, because games, just like any other type of software, it does need to be like very intuitive. And so yeah, so that's a
Use
good
that one-liner
that's actually good advice.
that we talked about earlier as a way to tell people about the game in a quick way and get them to play it, give you feedback, learn from them what it is they liked about what you did and what it is they didn't like about what you did. What you're looking for is what that person's enjoying, what they're doing, where they get stuck. You're looking for any kind of feedback about what's working with this idea and what's not working with this idea. So the good news is, at this point, if you have followed along with all 5 of these steps, you did make your first game in 1 week. It may not be the best game in the world, it probably isn't, and if you did in 1 week, that's really cool. All right, so you went through those 5 steps. What do you do now? This is where I think you should stop watching and come back to this video in 1 week when you've actually done that, because it's going to mean a little bit more to you. Maybe you've actually gone through and done the thing and you're there and you got it, but if you don't, hey, that's cool too. So this is the good news. Congrats. You made a game. Way to go. Good job. You've got this. Now, where do you take it from here? Take that 1 week game that you just made, take all that feedback that you...
Yeah, that's fine. That's all good and fun. So let's actually build this game here. I'm just gonna build and run. Hopefully it won't crash my PC. I'm just gonna build. All right. So while this builds, because this usually can take several minutes, let's watch another one from him. Yeah. Let's watch the engine one, because I'm curious about that one.
My name's Kyle. I make game dev videos twice per week, so give me a subscribe if you want to get more. For today's topic, we're going to talk about game engines. Specifically, which game engines could work for you making your first game. The engine you use and the type of game you make are related to each other. Not every engine is good at every kind of game, and I'll talk about that a little as we go on. Another thing to keep in mind is that for the most part, I'm talking about Steam games, because that's what I make. For things like mobile or web, you may need to make a different choice. I'll try to mention a couple considerations to keep in mind throughout the video. So let's get started here. First up, engine number 1, Unity. Unity is a really popular game engine. There's a lot of good content on YouTube about it, and it's really where a lot of people start their game dev journey. It was the first game engine that I used. Used Unity for about 3 years, mostly making prototypes.
I mean, again, I agree that it's a game engine where a lot of people start their game dev journey, but the way he puts that out there, it kind of makes it sound like it's a beginner's engine, and it's not. It may be an engine that a lot of people start just because Unity is super popular, right? But it's definitely not the easiest one. It's not difficult, but it's not the easiest one. Yeah, it's. I don't like how he put this out there because it's it makes it sound like Unity is just this beginner's engine, and when it's not.
Learning about game dev, did a game jam or two with Unity, and eventually I decided to not use it. Unity uses the C# language for its programming. It's a little easier to use C# than it is other languages like C++. There is also a visual scripting component in Unity, but personally I didn't find it very full featured. It didn't seem.
And visual scripting is not a part of officially it's not officially supported by Unity. You do have some asset packs that do that for you. But I don't think it should even be considered as an official thing on Unity because most people, actually, as far as I know, they don't even use it. They may you may use you may use for things like shaders and whatnot, but not for programming. And also, again, the way he talks about C#, it makes sounds like it's a very weak language. It's not. There's a ton of enterprise super high scale applications out there developed in C#. C# is a very powerful language. I agree. Yes, C++, it's maybe on a different level. It's applied to a bunch of different has a lot more different applications, sure, but C# is still a great language. It's not like, with all due respect, it's not like GD script, right? Where it's a language that is only used for Godot and was created for that, and it's very similar to another very simple language, which is Python, right?
Seemed very useful to me, so I just use code the whole time. Programming model for Unity is relatively simple. There's only a couple types of primitive objects you need to deal with, and you are going to be writing code if you use Unity. There's very little way around that. In terms of graphics and
That is true. A very little way around that, sure.
kind of what you get out of the box with Unity, it can look nice, but in 2024, it's a little dated. You have to do a little bit more work to get something that looks really great. It does.
Again, this is dude. I hate that. This is an Unreal Engine developer mentality, and I'm sorry if you're on Unreal Engine and you're listening to this, but you guys need to get your head out of the gutter. Like seriously, like not every game needs to be super realistic, high fidelity with amazing lighting and dynamic shadows and all that crap, dude. People, the sole purpose of games is not to look like a freaking movie. The sole purpose of a game is to be fun. That's it. If your game looks amazing and it's not fun, people are not gonna play it. Yeah, maybe if you're like Ubisoft, people are gonna give you a chance, but and then they're gonna trash you on Reddit, sure. But this is, first of all, it's not 100% true because you can still have amazing graphics on Unity. I agree that Unreal has a lot more power on that category, but to say, yeah, it just pisses me off because that's just such an Unreal Engine developer mentality.
Does do 2D games really well, and
Again, the same thing about the last video, saying that Unity is only good for 2D games. It makes me want to punch my monitor. Seriously, that's just horrible advice. I'm sorry, dude. It just is.
that's where I see so many people use Unity today is to make 2D games. The
What rock are you living under? Seriously.
other thing, it does have web builds for like WebGL to run in the browser as well as mobile. It does those pretty easily. The asset store for Unity has been one of their big sells, and it has been for years. It is huge. There's tons of assets on there, and it can be kind of hard to find one that really fits the vibe that you want. I've had a little bit of trouble.
Unity Asset Store is miles ahead of what Unreal has. Unreal recently released their like Fab Store, whatever that is. I haven't even given it a try because like the Epic Marketplace for assets was just horrible. The user experience was horrible. I think it was created using Unreal also, which is super heavy. I don't know.
trouble with quality with Unity assets, and unfortunately the refund process is just hellaciously slow. It took 4 months. So if you're buying assets and you may want to refund, keep that in mind. Last thing I'll say about it is about licensing. Unity's licensing in 2024 is complex. It has a lot of different facets that go into how much
Yeah, that I gotta give that to him. But although they did roll back everything, so now it's fine and dandy. But they did screw up on that regard in 2024. Yeah, there's no way to defend, and that's why they revamped their entire C-suite, C level executives. Not entirely, but I know the CEO is gone, and a couple of other people are also gone.
you pay and if you pay. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're a company and you make more than 250K in revenue funding from any source, you are going to owe Unity money. Exact details of that, I'll try to put a link down in the description below to the pricing page for Unity because it's fairly complex. It'd be an entire video of itself. Engine number 2, Unreal Engine. I use Unreal, and I have for about 1.5 years now. I really like it personally, keep that in mind, so this will be a little bit of a biased take. The programming language for Unreal is C++. If you really don't want to write code, you don't have to, because there's a thing called Blueprint in Unreal. It's super powerful. You can do a ton of stuff with it. You actually don't have to write a line of code if you don't want to make a commercial game. My game, Trace Hunters, is about 90% Blueprint code, and I've written code for 20 years. I just preferred the Blueprint workflow. It was a lot cleaner integration, a lot tighter feedback loop. Unreal Engine.
The blueprint for Unreal is actually a great tool. It's undeniable. It's so powerful. Unreal 4 was actually built around it, and now actually Unreal is working on their own programming languages, which is called Verse. You can already use that with like Unreal for Fortnite or something. And I heard their CEO saying that they're actually gonna make the official programming language for Unreal 6 whenever that comes out. I don't know when, but
Is very powerful, and out of the box it's very pretty, so you get some really awesome visuals just by default. Unreal is a pain.
yeah. Again, does not matter. Visuals do not matter if the game is not fun. I can't say that enough. I can't stress that enough. The goal of a game is not to be pretty. The goal of a game is to be fun.
Opinionated about workflows and has specific workflow tools for each of the different things. So you have materials tools, landscape tools, modeling tools, and a lot of the even 3D modeling you can do in Engine pretty easily. And the opinions about it generally make sense. They're generally what you want, and that's something that I really liked about the engine. Out of the box, it has a good default state. For marketplace assets, you have the Unreal Marketplace. There's a lot of assets on there. You can get all kinds of stuff, very similar to the Unity asset store. Unreal has a bunch of different templates that either Epic Games has made.
I mean, yeah, he said himself that he was gonna be biased, but I gotta say, like, just the way there's a way that he kind of trashed the Unity asset store, and then he quickly flew through the Unreal asset store Epic Marketplace, not saying anything bad about it. For me, it just goes to show how biased he is because the Unreal Marketplace is just pure crap, right? And by the way, our build is done, and right out of the gate, it's still loading. Oh, that's what I was afraid of. Yeah, for some reason, every time I build something with, yeah, I don't know why the HTTP server for Unity always crashes on me. Ah, I don't want to wait. I didn't want to wait. Crap. Let's just kill this. Yeah. Whatever. Let's just finish this video and then we can.
Or that other people have made on the Unreal Marketplace, and those can be a really good starting point for your game. They do tend to skew a bit more toward the realistic side than the low poly or 2D side. Unreal itself, I would really not recommend it for 2D. It has a paper 2D thing that you can use, but I think it really shines best when you're making 3D games. Unreal doesn't have engine fees, instead you pay royalties, but the good thing about that is the royalties are 5%, and you don't owe them royalties until your game makes more than $1 million. Not your company, your game. Very few of us indies are going to do that. If you do, that's really awesome. Let me know about it. Congrats. For the most part, you can, as an indie, especially as a solo dev or a small studio, you're very unlikely to pay Epic royalties on your game. Okay, engine number 3 that we're going to cover. Godot. Godot is open source engine. It has been around for a little bit, but it recently became much more popular after Unity's pricing debacle back in 2023, almost a year ago now. The Godot engine really saw a spike in usage at that time for people jumping ship, and they want something that's open source that they don't have to worry about problems of people changing their pricing model. Godot's programming language is GD script. It's Python based, which for me, I think that's cool because I like Python. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. I use it for other things. Since version 4.2, you can use C# with Godot, and you can also extend Godot to use other languages like C++. I have seen a lot more 2D games in Godot than 3D games. I've never made one myself with Godot. It's on my list to try at some point. I think it could be interesting. There are some newer 3D games coming up, so keep that in mind when you're looking for learning content about Godot. It may be a little harder to find. At least from my look at it so far and talking to other devs who use Godot, it seems like you have a lot more of a do-it-yourself mindset when you're going with that engine. It's still growing, it's still changing, so it's some of that stuff that's built into other engines like Unreal is not quite there yet. Maybe the biggest point that people like about Godot is that it's free to use. It's open source, it uses the MIT license, so that means you can take the code, you can change it, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it and you don't have to pay for it. It's also really difficult to change that as an MIT licensed open source project. You get that peace of mind that the licensing model isn't going to change out from under you. Those are the three engines I'm going to cover today. They're the three main engines that I see people use for game dev, especially for Steam. There are a ton of other game engines. Some of them are very special purpose. Maybe at some point in time I'll make a video about them too. What are my recommendations for you as a solo dev or you as a new small team? My number one recommendation for most styles of game is Unreal Engine. Unreal is great. Even if you don't know how to code, you can.
Oh,
totally
really?
use
I
it.
didn't
It's
see
not
that
an
coming.
issue. Number two recommendation on that most likely is Godot. Most likely, I feel like in 2024, Godot is going to be a better choice than Unity. And then number three on that list, Unity. Personally, I don't think it's really kept up as well as Unreal or Godot. I wouldn't recommend it to most people.
Unity hasn't kept up as Godot. Like, again, man, I'm sorry. I mean, I love your videos, but yeah, this one it just threw me off. Unity is still miles ahead of Godot. Godot is doing great strides. By the way, I have done code contributions to the Godot project, so uh, but still, like Godot is just not there yet. It's just it is a great engine. There are some games that were developed on Godot, sure, but it's just not there yet. And it just in terms of capability, Unity is definitely ahead of Godot. The advantage that Godot has right now, and me on paper, yeah, it's because it's free, sure, whatever. But at the same time, there's also a lot of negative things about it, and that's why I ended up leaving Unity. By the way, but we don't need to get into that right now. Yeah. Anyway, let's. I'm gonna play this again. And yeah, it's the best way for me to run HTTP server on Mac. Do I have Node here? This npm. Wonder if this is going to work on Windows. Do you run on Windows? Ask me. Maybe Git bash. HTTP. Yes. All right. All right. I do want to run no cache, and I also want course. Alright, so that means that now if I go here, no, not here. Ugh. See, I don't know why the Unity web server always fucks me up. But anyway, doesn't matter. So here, yeah, we're gonna connect. Dude, they still have. See, it's still not joining. So let's I am sorry. So now let's load it. Let's load another one in here. It's mute. Yay. Yeah, so you see that this, yeah, you see that this happened. So this is why this happens. And this is what I need to deal with. So it gets to here, but this guy on WebGL is new, right? Because the way WebGL deals with await is different. It doesn't really await. So this guy is never filled. So for the most part, I'm able to go around it. And especially, but here I actually need to do this. So I was wondering if there is anything. Let me ask the AI. I say, okay, so let me ask it. So on PC or Mac, this works fine, and am current session is assigned, but on WebGL, am current session is always new, because await works different on WebGL builds. How can I still assign am current session after the fact? Let's see what AI is telling us to do. So task connector here. This stays the same. This stays the same. If WebGL, okay. Right. So. Okay. RAM, rev, web, geo. Okay. Kill you also. I'm probably gonna need to also refresh the delete the cache. For that, let's just build clean.
That was right. Nobby fight him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Nobby,
Nobby fight him.
me and Nobby were best
Nah,
friends.
Nobby used to growl.
Nobby
like-
said
Okay.
nothing if I'm your best friend.
Becky shows that is God.
No, 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 no,
Whoa,
no,
screenshot.
no.
Ellum keeps threatening to kill me in real life.
That isn't true.
Wait,
It's
wait,
not
wait.
true.
Yeah, while we wait, let's see what's happening.
Be like the final shape. But this back wall needs to of the old.
Let's see what else is going on YouTube. Well, I was talking about the game, the Godot game engine.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today there is nothing but blue skies for the Godot game engine. Well, sort of. What we've got here is a new plugin for Godot from Tokusan Games. It is called Sky 3D. Now, when I say new, I mean new-ish. It's actually a revival of a Godot 3 plugin that Tokusan Games are now going to be developing. Now, this name may actually sound familiar to you because these are the developers behind the game Out of the Ashes, but they've also released the technology they use to make these games. If you're a regular to this channel, this next one you will have heard of. And that is Terrain 3D. Now, this
I've
is
seen
a
that.
high-performance editable terrain system for Godot 4.
I've seen that. I've seen that. The asset. I also have a couple assets published on the Godot asset library, by the way, which I'm not maintaining anymore because I left Godot. But yeah.
It is fully open source. It is very cool. It's written in C++, by the way. And this one gives you a ton of functionality in terms of creating terrain for your game. It's one of those things that has always been a little lacking for Godot, why it does not have a terrain system out of the box. And there's a couple of implementations out there of terrain systems. But Terrain 3D is probably the most preeminent and the most capable of the options out there. And a companion to terrain is skies. So if you want to have a day-night light cycle, for example, well, that is where Sky 3D comes in. Now, Sky 3D is actually, there was a project for Godot 3, and this is what actually was abandoned, and now they've taken, and Tokusan Games have taken it and ported it to Godot 4. This is entirely GD script based, and it gives you full day-night life cycles for Godot 4 game engine. It is fully open source. It is actively developed. In terms of features, you automatically rotating sun, moon, and the stars, dynamic clouds and atmosphere that change with the cycle, consolidated controls to adjust lighting and camera exposure, and management of game time, current time of day, etc. It is available up on GitHub. You can see some screenshots of it in action right here. We're going to head on over to the GitHub right now. So in terms of licensing, it is under the MIT license, which is the same license that Godot is released under. By the way, if you appreciate the work they do come on in here and give them a star. People always seem to appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get started with this guy. So let's go down here and we will clone this repository. So you're going to need a current-ish version of the Godot game engine. So let's go over here. There should be some instructions here that tells us exact version here. So 4.3, so not just current-ish, the current version. So again, come up here, grab the code like so, and then what we're going to do, open up a terminal, And we're going to the temp directory because of course we are. Git clone and then paste that in. Now, you could also obviously do this using your own project, but I'm going to show you the demo here. So we're going to go into the directory that was just created, and then what you're going to see here is there is a demo in place, but if you want to use this in your own project, all you have to do is copy the add-ons folder. So these guys right here.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the game from scratch videos, but sometimes it does get a bit too technical and it's kind of boring. I mean, sure, he's always looking out for new stuff, but it's just after a point for me, it's just like, I mean, if I wanted to watch a tutorial, I would be watching another YouTube channel. I'm sorry. I mean, you're great to let us know what's going on in the game dev better than anybody else, but if I wanted to watch a tutorial, I think I would just go watch something else. But that's, well, that's just me. Oh, one Wheel Studio will make a live stream tomorrow. That's interesting. In the meantime, it's just you're still building this way. Da-da-da. Make an MMO with Godot and Golang online leaderboard. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that is fun. And we're building. Yeah, it takes a while to build for WebGL. Kind of sucks. I'm just gonna wait for this build and then I'm gonna call it because it's getting a bit late here. But yeah, I'm planning to do more of these. Actually, I'm gonna try to do them every night for a couple hours. I think it's good. Trying to build my own audience here. For now, we are at an hour and 45. Once this is done, plus some testing, that will be it. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find something to entertain us on YouTube until then, but I don't know. I don't want us to watch anything that is boring. Yeah, it's getting late here, guys. My wife has gone to bed twice by now, so yeah. Let's see what YouTube gives us. Learn to build an advanced event bus with Unity architecture. Making my old games working in. Oh, this is fun. You know something that I was additions that launched careers. That's crazy.
And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
which
That
is a
is-
beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
Look at his face.
And it's
Oh my
appropriate.
God.
It's appropriate because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line and you take a look at what that looks like.
So, okay, let's think about this logically.
Oh, wait.
What if the United States
Is he thinking about merging with Canada? Is that what I heard? I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood.
Mexico, and Canada became one country? If all three nations joined together to form a single country, they could call it COM, or the United Nations of COM, and it would instantly become the most powerful country in the world. Economically, this union would dominate with a GDP of over $28 trillion, making it the richest country on Earth. The U.S. is
Yeah, the richest, but also the one with the biggest economical difference between the poorest and the richest.
$25 trillion economy would lead, boosted by Canada's energy resources and Mexico's manufacturing strength. Geographically, this supernation would span 21.66 million square kilometers, overtaking
This
Russia.
is not even considering Greenland. It would be GCOM, right? Because Greenland.
It would command the world's most advanced and powerful military. So, would you want the U.S. to...
Anyway, our build finished. So we're gonna use our good friend here. We're gonna come in here. Yes. Great. So why are you complaining? So yeah, so let's do this. No. So one guy will be you. Chrome. Host. Sure. The other guy will be you. Firefox. Oh. Brave, actually. All right. Let's mute music, right? 'Cause- oh, crap. Actually, so this settings. Cache. Last hour, sure. Delete it. Drop it. And same for you. Cache. Yep. Cool. Alright. Let's go again. Look. Oh, I forgot. Just gonna open this just so this time we're gonna go on the full 7. And sure. Okay. Let's cue the music here because nobody deserves this. The full 7. Alright, someone joined. And it did not work. This did not work. So it was WebGL. I did run this, but this guy was never called. Failed to connect in WebGL. Yeah, I think I need to. This is Yeah, this is not going to work. Yeah, just do this. So I need a way to, for example, actually, this is good that I didn't delete this. So if you look at the logs, right? On network spawn. Okay, so on client connected callback and client connected. So I do have these two callbacks over here. So I have on client connected. On client connect. Okay, on client connected callback. Can I get the session from this guy? So, because I do have the session somewhere. Right, so like if I so network manager. So the network manager on server connect player. Session view. Yeah, I'm using this. Create a session matchmaking. Initializing. Yeah, we do this. Assign in. Create a session. It tells you to do this. So we're doing that. Type of network. Okay, another consideration for your session network type. Which players join. Players can join on direct connection or via client based. And recommend best practice to people on the internet. Session makes. Might connect session is negócio aqui que Shovel. I have to do some resource. So C sharp, Unity, WebGL. Oh, I think 08 and WebGL builds. Yeah. I'm not gonna solve this today. We had some good progress today. So we managed to log off successfully. At least on Mac. On Windows, I mean, and then now we just need to fix why this is not working. I mean, we know why. We just need to fix the fact that this is always new on WebGL. You know what? I'm gonna send this question on Discord. I don't care. Maybe somebody will know something. Let's see. I'll do that and then I'll go to bed because it's getting late over here. Dude, where's my Discord? I'm gonna ask on Unity networking. Hello there. Always good to start with a hello before I ask someone for something. So, hello there. I have this Netcode for game. Oh, hey, Pretzel. Oh, I appreciate it. You just subscribed. I love getting new subscribers. Yeah, I'm almost done though, by the way. But really, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, no, really appreciate it. So yeah, so I'm as the title says, I'm building this game, this little prototype game with Unity Netcode for game objects with distributed authority. And the thing is that Unity for now, since the whole thing is still beta, there's not documentation at all. There's a little bit of documentation, but most of it is just targeted to the regular netcode for game objects, and also there's no material, no YouTube, no nothing. So yeah, right now I managed to basically sign off and log off my player when it dies. But the thing is that this await guy over here, although it works, it's funny because it still works and still connect, but this guy is always new, which is on, but this guy is always new only on the WebGL build, because on the Mac and the PC this is not new. So anyways, I'm kind of fighting with this. I was just about to just send a question here on Discord. So yeah, I have this netcode code. Yeah, I'm just gonna here. Why? Okay. On PC and Mac. Is assigned successfully, but on WebGL is always new. Can someone help me out? Funny thing is that the WebGL client still creates or joins a session, but this does not assign value to to this guy. And I kinda need that later to take the player offline and such. Thanks for any help. It's gonna say that catch is also now called. All right, so help was sent out there. It's past midnight, and I think I am going to call it off for tonight. So thanks a lot for whoever joined. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the follow. That is very exciting when I get a new follower, and I would rate other people, although if I actually had anybody watching, I think. I don't know if there's only one person or if it's just me, but anyway, I look forward to doing this, to seeing you guys tomorrow. So yeah,